Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss how to create arrays using array function in Numpy. Array is a built-in function in Numpy to create arrays in Python. Already we discussed another function arange in Numpy that is also supporting creation of arrays, but that is creating a set of values in that array in a proper interval and within a range. Now, array function is actually performing a role of creating an array by accepting a list of values which are going to be part of that array. And it is returning the reference to the created array and that can be used in our programs. Now let us discuss the syntax of this array function. So array function is to be called by using the Numpy object. When you are importing your Numpy package in the program, you have to create an object. Just call this array function by using the Numpy object. It is accepting two parameters. One is the list of values which are going to be the part of the array created by this array function. And second one is the data type of the array elements. Usually the list of values actually given in the form of a list or a sequence data type list. So there should be a single list passed as a parameter or argument which contains all the elements of the array. Data type is any built-in Python, otherwise sometimes Numpy data type, that is denoting the data type of every element in that array. Now, one important thing is sometimes we will make an error when we are calling or when we are using the array function, that is with multiple arguments. So instead of using this list, that means within set of square brackets, the numbers used to be given within set of parentheses of this array function itself. So that is the error we used to make in most of the times. So now let us move to the code demonstration for this array function. So if you want to use array function in your program, you have to import Numpy package into your program. So import Numpy as, then you have to provide an object name for your Numpy, for example np. So now let us call this array function by using this Numpy object. So np.array, it is accepting a list of values that are going to be part of this array as parameter. So now that list will be actually a collection of values inside set of square brackets separated by comma. Now let me give a set of values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this 5 values 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 will be considered as the part of the array, and an one dimensional or single dimensional array will be created and a reference will be returned. Now to collect the reference, let us use a name for a name, for example ARR as a variable to collect the values or the reference returned by this array. Now let us print the type of this array created. So print type of the array name, for example ARR. So print type of ARR. So now let us see what type of array is it. So if you see it, you are seeing the data type of your array is actually ND array. So the type of data type of the object or the reference returned by this array function after creating the array is of type ND array. That means, as we discussed, every array created in Python using Numpy functions, especially Numpy arange or Numpy array or ones or zeros, all are the object of a built-in class or predefined Numpy class ND array. So that's why our array is actually returning a reference of type ND array. Suppose if we want to have a float array, I can specify the float values here. For example, 1.2, then 2.3, then 3.4, 4.5, 5.6. Now this is a float array. That means all elements in the array are of type float. Now let us print the array. So print ARR. So this is how you can print the array using in Numpy, right? So you can print the array in this format or by using this print statement. Now let us run the code. You can see the array is printed, so a float array is created. But now let us check what is the data type of this elements in this array. We didn't mention any data type for this array, but still your array function assumed a data type for all your elements in that array. How it is assessing or how it is deciding the data type of the elements in the array is by checking the data types of the values which are provided. Now let us check the data type of every element in the array. So every array is having a predefined attribute called dtype. So dtype is actually the attribute of any array. So it can be used like with array object arr dot dtype, and we can print it. So we can print the data type of every element in that array by using this printing this dtype or attribute of this array. So let us run the code. Now you see the array is printed and then the data type of every element in the array is printed, that is float 64. So float 64 is actually, it is a data type supported by Numpy for float. So we have a variety of such data types or special data types created in Numpy itself: integer 32, integer 64, float 32, float 64. So like that, variety of different data types, built-in data types are created in Numpy itself. Now let me assume that, as I told you, I omit this list. I omit this list. That means I remove the square brackets. When I remove the square brackets, now it is not considered as a list, and it's actually accepting totally 5 arguments. It is accepting totally 5 arguments or parameters. Now let us see what is happening. It is showing an error. Array takes from 1 to 2 positional arguments, but 5 were given. That means usually your array function will take maximum of 2 arguments. So one is the list of values that are going to be the part of the array, and second one is the data type of the array elements. That is optional, right? Now here the list is actually considered as a set of elements enclosed within set of square brackets separated by comma. Now here the list is not provided because the square brackets are removed. So this first element itself is considered as one list, and after that all the remaining are considered as the different elements. In that case, it's considered as it is passing totally 5 arguments instead of passing 2 arguments maximum. It is considered as passing 5 arguments. So that's why it's showing error. But I can omit this list if I am going to pass only one value. In that case, the list format of giving the input is not required, or submitting the parameter is not required. So if I am going to use only or pass only one value in that array, then it will create one element array by considering this single element as the element of the array. Now let us run it. You see it is printing that element. That means it's creating array, single dimensional array with that one element, this one element. So this is how this array function is behaving. Now let us move to another one important thing, another important aspect: how to create double dimensional arrays using this array function. Usually it's accepting a single list. It's accepting a single list of values as its parameter, so that it will create an array of that single dimension. But if you want to create multiple dimensions, for example, let us assume that you are going to create a matrix. So matrix is containing rows and columns. So row is one dimension and column is another dimension. Now you can have, for example, 3 rows and 3 columns. So your matrix will be a 3 cross 3 matrix. So in this case, every row will contain totally 3 rows will be there, and every row will contain 3 elements. How to separate one row from another row? That is important. So here this function is designed to accept only one list as argument. In that case, you can make every row as inner list of the same list. That means this is the main list, and within the main list you can have every row that is going to be part of the array created as inner list. In that case, the inner list is actually, for example, having three elements. So 1, comma 2, comma 3. This is the first row. Then comma 4, comma 5, comma 6, second row. Then comma 7, comma 8, comma 9. This is the third row. Now you are creating this array by mentioning every individual row in that double dimensional array in the form of inner list. So this is actually supported by this array function. Now let us check how it is working. Now your array of 9 elements is formatted as a 3 by 3 matrix because you mentioned every row as an inner list. Every row as inner list. So now this is also supported. But is this the only way to create an array as a matrix? No, we have one more choice. In the previous video on arrange function, we discussed we can assign the values for the shape attribute of your array so that your array can be shaped as any double dimensional or multidimensional array. Another option is there. What is that? Is you can use a predefined function called reshape. So reshape is a function that is accepting one or more or two or more parameters corresponding to the number of dimensions, and every integer or every number it is accepting is going to be the number of elements there in that particular dimension in that array, right? Let me assume that I'm going to create an array, again 3 by 3 matrix, right, and of 9 elements. So 3 by 3 matrix contains 9 elements. So here let me give it as a single list. So in that case, it is used to create only single dimensional arrays. But I want to convert it into a double dimensional array or as a matrix of size 3 by 3. In that case, after calling this array function with this values, it will create the array and it will return the reference. Now by using that reference, you can call the function reshape. So reshape is actually the function that is going to accept two or more integers to denote that this particular array is going to be reshaped as a multidimensional array, right? For example, here there are 9 elements, so I want to form it as a 3 by 3 matrix. So first dimension is row, 3 rows, and second dimension is column, so 3 columns, right? Now this particular array can be created as a double dimensional array or a matrix by calling reshape function. So let me run the program. Now here the array is created as a double dimensional array, especially as a matrix of size 3 cross 3. So this reshape can be used with any function or any array created by any predefined function in Numpy like arrange, array, ones, zeros, or empty. So I hope that you understood how to create the arrays and how to reform the arrays using array function in Numpy. So let me meet you in another video with another topic. So till that, keep on practicing and happy programming. Thank you.